Live video is starting. We're gonna get you in this no matter what. Okay. Will you take this? You guys, this is how cool Denver is, right? We didn't plan on having the honor of having a conversation with Hlib, but with his beautiful wife TK, and we just got to meet them. And after talking to him for 3, 2, 1 seconds, I said, oh my gosh, would you speak during our last storytelling session for 5 minutes, but we're all gonna be left wanting more. Fatima, he's gonna be like you. 5 minutes is gonna go just like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hear from this brand new brother, Hlib, who's from Ukraine. And wanting more, and we can talk to him after this, okay? So the one question Hlib is going to answer is,
so dear Hlib, how would you describe the Ukrainian character, and how does it impact and affect what's happening right now?
Do you want me to answer it right now?
yes, please.
Well,
I'm going to have you back up a little bit so everyone in the masses can see you.
I really didn't expect that question, but I'd be happy to give you an answer in the following way. To understand the Ukrainian character, first of all, I'm going to become very emotional, so you have to forgive me. As I get older, I get more emotional. So recently the United Nations announced that the world's largest collection of folk songs belong to Ukraine, 220,000. Followed by Italy. I don't know what that number is. But anyway, a scholar in Ukraine started analyzing the content of those songs, and he came to the conclusion that 30 or 40% of the songs have the word freedom, liberty, breaking of chains, 30 to 40%. If you enter a Ukrainian home, the pictures that you see hanging next to the icons are pictures not of generals, pictures of poets. Shevchenko, Franco, Lesia Ukrainka, my favorite. She came from part of Ukraine against all hope, contra spem spero. You have to forgive me. I get emotional. So the Ukrainian character is freedom-loving, aspiring for a normal life, to raise children, to have a good education, have decent hospitals, decent roads, the normal things. That's the Ukrainian character. Russian character is just the opposite. It's all about conquest and war if they don't add Ukraine to the Russian Empire will crumble, and it will. It's called a federation, and it has various weaknesses. So Ukrainian character is you don't give up. You don't give up. I remember when we were in a refugee camp in 1949 in Germany, 1949, and we heard in the refugee camp a group of Ukrainian underground, the Ukrainian insurgent army, Ukrainska Повстанча Armia, about 150 of them walked from Ukraine all the way to southern Germany, 1949. And then another group of about 90 came in 1950 because the command of the Ukrainian army said, we cannot do any more fighting in large units. We have to resist in smaller units. The last, thank you, the last Ukrainian commanding general of the Ukrainian army was assassinated or killed in his bunker in 1956, 11 years after World War II. No outside help of any kind. Okay, so that's the Ukrainian character. If you read Solzhenitsyn, who wrote by criminals, and the political prisoners were slaves of the criminals, murderers, etc. Until they started bringing in members of the Ukrainian insurgent army. They straightened out the camps within a matter of a few weeks. And then they organized a major uprising, and a dozen camps rose up. That tells you a little bit about the Ukrainian character. The people in Ukraine now are fighting for their land. The Russians, they're not sure what they're fighting for. You ask a normal Russian soldier that was captured, what are you doing here? He doesn't know. He says, I'm here to take care of Nazis. Nazis. A Ukrainian president who is Jewish. Several prime ministers that we have had are Jewish. 3 or 4 members of the current cabinet are Jewish. And they're there to take care of Nazis. So the Ukrainians know what they're fighting for. The things that normal people fight for. Okay? That might tell you something about the Ukrainian character. And we are emotional. Well, that is absolutely a very, very important concept. Ukrainians are fighting for a future. They're fighting for freedom, to be part of Europe, to be part of the civilized world. The Russians are really fighting for an empire, fighting for the past. And the empire will break down sooner or later, sooner than we think. Without gas station. That's right. Senator McCain said the same thing. He said it's Russia without Ukraine is a big gas station with nuclear weapons run by the mafia. That's it, run by a mob, Russian mob. That's Ukrainians are fighting for their future, and they're fighting for Europe. And Russians, this morning we were coming in here, driving, or this afternoon, and there's some kind of a Russian imperial movement we were listening to. And no, they don't intend to stop at the borders of Ukraine. It's going to be Poland and the Baltic states. And they say whatever else was under the control of the Russian Empire. There are people like that in the 21st century. What else can I tell you? What's the other questions?
Anyone have any questions?
We have time for one.
Anything historical, anything at all you would like to ask?
Since I also did 30 years in the U.S. military, other than teaching, my ROTC classmate was Colin Powell. So that'll tell you how old I am. I'm older than I look. He was 2 years ahead of me. He just passed away, as you know, about half a year or so. He was 2 years ahead of me, and he went on active duty immediately. I went after I graduated to grad school. But since I do have a little military background, I made full bird, he made 4 stars. But since I have a little military background, let me just say the following. When the war broke out, I couldn't believe it. Because that was the stupidest thing that Putin could have done. There was a very famous Russian general, no friend of Ukraine, Ivashov. He's the head of the Officers Association of Russia. Very, very famous man. And he basically said that if Putin goes to war against Ukraine, this will be the greatest mistake he will make in his life, and he may wind up as on the bench of the criminals at The Hague. And he said this about 2 weeks before the war broke out. So I couldn't believe it. Ivashov couldn't believe it. The biggest mistake you can make as a military leader is to underestimate your enemy. You read whether it's Clausewitz or whether it's he's a great thinker on war. The biggest mistake you can make is underestimating your enemy, and then sometimes overestimating yourself. So this has been done before. And so when it happened, a lot of people couldn't believe it. The front line, about 1,500 kilometers. And they were attacking with about 200,000 troops, roughly. And they thought the Ukrainian armed forces would fold up in a few hours. They thought that the Air Force